Hello there and welcome to Sister on 97.3 City FM and City TV. It's another weekend. We're totally thrilled to come your way. Once again, my name is Jessica. Thank you so much for joining us. Today's show is brought to us by Vodafone. Together we can. Talia Rice, always coming home to love. And Kel Kids Toothpaste. Happy smiles. On the show today, we're going to be jumping into your relationship questions, comments, etc. And I'll be telling you exactly how you can be part of this conversation. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And you're welcome back. So tonight, if you'd like to be part of our conversations on the show, it's completely possible. You can just quickly send a WhatsApp, as and when you feel moved to 054-998-6996. You can also send an email to jessica@cityfmonline.com. Better yet, find us on Facebook and join our growing community at Sister Live, Live. Like our page, and we're good to go. So these are the three ways you can reach us. Let me say hello to my sisters in house, and then we'll be jumping right into our messages for the evening. In studio, I have Olivia. I do have Sandria, and in Berlin we have our favorite girl, Claudia. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Drea, you're looking red. What's the occasion?
Life.
Yeah?
Life is the occasion.
You look well.
I am well.
Yeah.
I'm actually consciously happy these days.
Ooh. Taking a decision
to be happy, and so I'm wearing colors that uplift me.
Nice.
And,
Nice. Maybe we should all try it sometime.
You should. Intentionally happy. That's the way to go.
I'm motivated.
She's motivated.
She is. I hate that.
Really? Tell us about this motivation.
Oh, no, like, just listening to her, it's so true. Like, I'm always wearing colorful stuff. Like, it lifts your spirit up. So it's so cool. Yeah. So.
Plus, your dad didn't want me wearing black, remember?
Ooh.
Oh, you didn't just tell him that I told you that. He asked
actually,
why
you said it. You said it on air. You said it.
I did.
You did.
I forgot. Hi, Dad. Yeah, he's a huge fan of this show, so I need to say hi to my dad. Anyway, Claudia, how are you doing? What's going on?
I'm good. I did. Life as usual. Nothing interesting.
Nothing interesting?
Just boring.
Some way, somehow, I find that very hard to believe. Like
From Claudia,
man. Like Berlin has got to be popping or something.
Chilling, sister.
No, there's nothing happening now. It's just work. So it's a bit stressful for me.
Oh boy.
Aww.
Oh well, hopefully after, you get de-stressed after engaging in this conversation on the show.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I guess we'll find out. Okay, ladies, we'll jump right into our first message. And this one here goes like this. Says, hi, sisters. I met this lady a year ago, explored her, and eventually got her pregnant within a week. Before I could say jack, she had already informed my mom. My mom is a pastor and a very revered person in my community, and by virtue of her positioning, she quickly sent my family elders to do knocking on my behalf. After giving birth, she and my mom schemed to arrange a wedding. I played along just to please my mom, but I warned everyone that I wasn't ready and should not be blamed when it doesn't work out. No one listened. After the ceremony, I hardly slept at home. I was spending more time partying with friends. Some way, somehow, I realized I just wasn't cut out for marriage. No matter how hard I tried to change never came. Okay. 1 year after our second child was born, the woman sought transfer and left with the kids. It was then that I started feeling their absence. In fact, I was depressed by their absence and begged her every day to come back. I almost ended my life because I was lonely and felt ready to settle back with her and to do things right. She insisted she won't and that I should rather join her, but the nature of my work wouldn't allow me to. I'm now a completely changed person, very active in church, ready to manage my home, but she's also not ready to compromise. It's been 4 years now, and she's still insistent on not returning. I recently met a very kind lady who helps and takes care of me, washing, cooking, cleaning. We've never been intimate, but I've fallen deeply for her and I want to marry her. I recently proposed divorce to my wife, but she called my bluff until I served her the notice. She's now feeling sorry and wants us to work it out, yet doesn't want to return to me. I know myself very well, and I don't do well with this long distance relationship thing. And any attempt to stay in the marriage will not help me. All I want is for my wife and kids to be with me, something she's not willing to do. What should I do? All right, so that's our first message for today. Claudia, I'm going to come to you so you can weigh in on this first.
This is an interesting one.
Yes.
And the issues are quite layered for me. But what struck me at the beginning is the sexist and, in my opinion, very degrading way he goes like, I was exploring her. You know, how do you describe a woman? And it's so endemic in our society, the way we talk about women and the women and men, the way men, let me be more specific, the way men talk about women they have sex with. So he went to explore her like she's some deserted country that needed to be discovered.
Discovered.
Like
Christopher Columbus. Jinx, you owe me a soda.
You know, and I'm thinking, why do you even? So first of all, he doesn't respect this woman, and the rest of the text goes to prove that he has no respect for her. And he also plays into the societal narrative of women being so desperate for marriage, they con men into an unwilling association. Like he didn't like the marriage. Mm-hmm. And he also plays into it by saying, I was forced into it. I told them I didn't like it because my mom was a pastor. I was conned, like, and they schemed, also making it seem like the lady wanted it, he didn't want it. And that also, again, is another issue we have where if men want to stray away from behavioral commitment to relationship, they make it seem like it's not the idea. Meanwhile, they are actively participating in the whole process that is leading to the marriage. So you marry her, you didn't change, you still continue being you, but in another breath, enjoying the benefits of the marriage. You weren't being a husband, you weren't performing your responsibility as a husband, but this woman was giving her all. She gave you children. And again, I wonder why, and it's also common that your friend is having marital issues. You are discussing it with her. The next time you see she's pregnant. And then I'm thinking, this problematic man that we are all brooding over, you've gone to have a second child with him. So the wife in itself, she's also a project that has to be discussed and broken into. Because I'm wondering why this man is making it seem like you were never his choice. And from the way he has described it, he was a very problematic husband. But you still went on to have a second child with him. But I admire that she packed and she left. I mean, she found herself at the end of the day and then she left. But then the other side that confuses me is she wants to stick to this marriage that wasn't working, that I'm so happy she's moved on. She's considering her career and her kids. She moved, you convinced her and told her to come back. She said she wouldn't come back. And you served her divorce, and then she said she doesn't want the divorce, but she won't come back. This woman is also a very confused woman who has met her match, another confused man. But what comes to me is that this man is not looking for love. First, he's looking for a facilities officer, someone to take care of his house, check the windows. Right. He's looking for a catering officer, someone to cook for him. He's looking for a baby production machine, someone to make him feel like he's a father. So that the love and the commitment part of it, from which we go and look for companionship, those are not the things he's looking out for. And I always say that the average, and my emphasis on average Ghanaian man, if they were given the services of a cleaner, a washing woman.
Oh no.
Claudia, we lost your sound for some reason.
No.
We lost your sound. I don't know if you can hear me.
She can hear you.
Okay.
She can't
but,
hear you.
you know, let's just bring it in studio. We'll go back to Claudia when we can't hear you, Claudia. Yes, we cannot hear you. She's gesturing. Anyway, so Drea, let's just pick your thoughts on everything.
These two people deserve each other. Please, leave that other girl you haven't had sex with. Do not explore her. Like, say, first of all, when when you go and explore for oil or anything,
Drill.
whatever it is you're looking for, you will find. So you went to explore and you found a pregnancy. Take some responsibility. Let's start with that. This whole thing of, and my mother, his mother too is part. Like, how do you scheme with a baby mama to marry? And he actually, if indeed the story is true, he actually said, this is not for me. That it was from then that there shouldn't have been a marriage. And there's no written law anywhere that if you have someone is pregnant for you, you should marry them. It's the wrong reason to marry. Okay.
But
so I
she's
feel
a
as if,
pastor,
and so,
and her son has impregnated somebody.
and so,
No, she's trying to save face. That's what
Yeah.
this is.
exactly. But so you pulled in somebody's daughter to save your face. You didn't bring up your son well.
Let's start with that. Right?
Yes, let's start with that. So you, the mother yourself, take some responsibility. Because if you had brought your son up well, he would not have gone to explore a woman over a week and made her pregnant in that 1 week. He's fertile too on top.
Yeah.
His
He didn't
fertility
use
2
protection
days. He didn't
too.
use protection too on top. Like
How
much is
so
protection?
you didn't bring the boy up well. He goes to make this mistake, and you compound it by making an even bigger mistake by marrying off somebody who has said to you that
This is
he's
not
not
for me.
ready. This is not for me. Okay. People grow into love, and I think that that's what has happened. Or grow into of course, absence makes the heart fonder. So she's left. If you've left auntie, and you say you won't come back, and he says divorce me, is it not because you wanted your freedom? That's why you left. Isn't divorce the freedom? But you say no. Selling the goat, holding the tail. That's what this is. You've left. The man says, okay, you've sold me the goods. Leave my tail and let me go. He said, oh, no, I'm holding. So the goat is bleating and trying to walk away, but you're pulling it. Meanwhile, you say, I don't want it. They deserve each other. Both of them are, like she said, both of them are confused. They deserve each other. So auntie, if you are listening, please go back to your husband. Say, you to find a way and find a job where she is so that the two of you can be together. The third girl there, please leave her alone. Don't bring her into this, your mess. You have 2 children with this woman. Make it work. As for the mother, you too, you. I'll come to you another time.
What time? We can do have time.
Mothers, stop forcing your children to marry because they made somebody pregnant. It is not a good enough reason. This is what will happen. Now there are 2 children whose father is in one town, whose mother is in another town. One says, I want to divorce. This is the mother's fault.
Yeah. I mean, this is immaturity across the board. The guy is not ready to grow up and man up and take responsibility. He wants to have his cake and eat it. He thinks life should be as he wants it to be. You decided to explore this lady, no responsibility. Your mother had to man up and save face and force you to marry this woman. Still, you couldn't get some
sense.
Yeah. And I'm not worried now. You see what I mean? Got you married. You claim not to love this girl. But when you're busy taking your knickers off and shagging her, at which point in time, and this is a clear case of love, sex isn't love and love isn't sex. You don't love her, so why are you leading her on? Couldn't you buy a condom? You got her pregnant. And other people had to let you be responsible. Having said that, you're married in your matrimonial home. What if you say you'll make it work? And now chick 2 is also like, okay, at the end of the day, I can tell you don't love me. I don't want to go and do born. So let me just have my 2 kids with you and just get out of here. Now she's out, minding her own business. All of a sudden,
your love has come.
Your love has come.
Yes,
you're like, oh, I'm lonely. Oh, no. Now I really love her. So you love her. You've asked her time and again, come back to me. At what point in time are you going to stop being selfish? You, dear, can't you pack your bags and go and fight for your marriage? Can't you pack your bag? So what makes your work so important more important than hers? Like, at which point in time are you going to grow up, my guy? And like, really, what advice do you want us to give you? Like, sit back and read what you gave to us and reflect. Think about it. Ask yourself, if you were this girl, how would you feel? Or if you were, if somebody treated your sister like this, how would you feel? Like, I'm tired of all of this. You've brought children into this world. You're not even thinking that, okay, my wife has taken these kids away. at which point in time am I going to be a part of their lives? Like you and your wife, you can stop your whole concerts and at least focus that challenge. Like, because of the kids, I'm going to respect you and I'm going to try to live with you to make it work. You can't. I mean, your case is not a lost case. There are incidences whereby, yes, they probably started off not in love, but because you're civil, because you know that because of the children, we'll make it work. Yes, I don't love you, but at the end of the day, I'm able to shag you. So I can start from, at least the sex is great. How about that? You gave us 2 kids. How about that? And take it one day at a time. Master, you have to man up. Man up, if it means that you go there, you haven't even tried. And to add insults to injury, this girl, like Claudia was saying, you're looking for a facilities manager. You've got a new girl who is cooking for you, who is cleaning for you, who is making your bed for you, who is doing, and then all of a sudden you're in love with her because she's doing all of these things for you. I'm sure that when she's bending and cleaning
for free back in the day,
and adding the sex.
Thank you. I'm sure that when she's cleaning the floor, he's imagining all sorts of things. Hey, this girl, Massa, you will fear him. You're going to get this other girl pregnant. It's what kind of situation? Like, really, grow up. I beg you, really. Like, I don't mean to be harsh, but it is the reality. And you really need to start looking at things differently. If I were you, I will pick up myself, go to my wife, sit down with her and have a conversation if you claim to still love her. Because he said when she left, it's like, reality check. I think I want my wife back. So
actually, he doesn't even say he loves her. He said all I want is
my wife and children back with me. Okay,
that's all he wants. So in fact, at no point did he say that he loves her. No.
Look at this. Okay, so you don't love him. But back to what I was saying. Until when are you going to stop being selfish? If you want them as much as you claim you want them, have you even gone to see where they are? Do you know where they live? Do you know how she's taking care of the children? Are you even paying for their fees? Can you pick yourself up, go out there and go and find out how they're doing, and also see that maybe perhaps you can also find a job and you can also settle with your wife where she is at and make things work.
But you see, I think, I keep going back to his mother because he's not the only man who feels this level of, like Claudia was saying, level of is entitlement. He's not the only man who feels, I explored a lady and I made her pregnant and they schemed to marry me. And first of all, you're sounding very weak.
Thank you.
Because at some point you could have put your foot down and said, no, this is not for me. I won't do it.
Exactly.
You didn't do that. But my point is, we're raising such, and I think the onus lies on us as women and mothers who have sons. We need to raise better men.
True.
That's what it
Very
is.
important.
We need to raise men who recognize the need to take responsibility for their mistakes, own up to them, and fix them. That's what we need to do. He comes off as this, and I told them, I told them that it wasn't for me, so nobody should blame me for what? But we should blame who? When you were taking, I had a friend who, I was always complaining, and she and her husband are always fighting. Then she had one baby. And she and her husband she came to visit, she was pregnant, and I was telling my mom, and one day my mother said, sweetie, if they were fighting so hard, how is she pregnant?
Thank you.
Yoshi and Sunny.
You fear some.
That's all.
If they were fighting so much, you actually have 2 kids. Charlie, take some responsibility.
All right, Claudia, we lost you there for a second. I don't know if you can pick up from where you left.
I don't know where I was cut off, so it's a bit confusing whether she's
It was really towards the end. You had talked about he doesn't really want her. He just wants someone to manage his home, basically.
He wants her for the services.
Yeah.
He's not in love. And let's not conflate love with wanting services from someone. Because he missed the free things he was getting when the woman left. And he was okay, thinking he had missed his wife, until this new woman came along and started providing the same services. The guy is not in love.
No.
And I don't know why. I think what is confusing me the most is why the wife still wants to be married to him.
Yeah.
That's my biggest problem.
I can tell you why.
And so for me, he should stop being selfish, because I feel, and unfortunately, he's the average, and I'm using average in very cautious terms, the average Ghanaian man, and he feels he deserves these things. I would advise him to hire a cook, hire a house cleaner, and see if he would want his wife back. He should find someone, pay them to render all these services.
He has found it.
In fact, he has found it. That's why he wants to marry her. He wants to marry her. So he's basically we have to marry.
Yeah, he's looking for service
He's
providers.
jumping around looking for free services from women. So he should work on himself. He needs to rethink manhood, companionship, and the value of a wife and the expectations of a wife, because he's doing it all wrong. And he's mastered the art of blaming everybody by himself. So he blamed the woman for getting pregnant, although they did it together.
Thank you.
And he said he was exploring her, using that degrading language. And then he blamed the mother and wife for making them marry him. And now he's blaming the woman for not wanting to come back. The question is, why did she leave in the first place? Have you solved that problem?
Yeah.
The problem that made her go away, have you solved it? You claim you've changed. And your change is very suspicious. You are lonely, and so you think you've changed. Work on yourself and leave that woman alone for now. And like I said, the services that is making you love women, find a paid person to do it and see if these two women, you even want to spend your life with them. Your taste might even be different. But because they're offering free services, you think they are your taste. Evaluate your life. And also think about the things that make you a man and the things that make a happy home. And then understand if there are other things that these women can give you apart from cooking, cleaning, washing. Because these are so basic. They are so basic, but as a society, we've succeeded in making it so crucial in a companionship that so many men, when they have these services, might not even think of marriage. Your mother, a mother goes to the son's house, sees that the house is dirty, says, marry. Get married. There's no food in your house. Get married. Get married. No, but in this case, you have no many of the animals.
What you need is a wife.
So, yes. And so the wife, like I said, comes in, takes over laundry services, takes over cleaning the house, takes over cooking, and now he's even managing his diary for him. So he even gets a free secretary around him. And then he gets to go on in his career and advance in his, and that's why women are left behind in society. Once they marry, if they don't have a supportive spouse, everything falls aside because childcare, domestic care, and it's based on these principles that society evaluates them as being a good wife and being a good mother. And the men are taking advantage of these free services. They don't even value it. They say, oh, I do everything at home. What do you do? I pay the bills. How is the house clean? Who cooks? They don't place any value on housework. And we women have also bought into this narrative that is working against us. And even when we meet men, that is what we do to audition for them to accept us as girlfriend and wives.
Audition, no.
So sad.
Audition, no.
Calibrate our thinking about what we want as women and what constitutes being a good wife and being a good mother. And the concept of partnership itself, this guy doesn't understand the concept of partnership. If he gets together with a wife, it will go back to what it was before. He should work on himself. Your wife is not your cleaner and your cook. And like you said, she has a job. So I suspect she was even pitching in financially. So you are even enjoying the benefits of the so-called marriage that you said you didn't want, You are even benefiting more than the woman who you claim conned you. Stop being selfish. Allow the woman to live the life.
I want to talk about the woman because Claudia made a point and I said I know the answer. Why she's saying she doesn't want the divorce. Right. Again, it comes to society. You see, getting divorced, the judgment. Yeah. Getting divorced is such a, hey, she wasn't able to keep her man. And so rather than leave the man who's obviously a douche, she wants to stay. But you can tell that she really doesn't want to stay because she doesn't want to come back. Right. Because indeed, if she wanted a marriage, she'd be willing to sacrifice. And I'm not saying that's what she should do.
Right.
But indeed, if she wanted a marriage, she'd say, okay, he says he's changed. Okay, blah, blah, blah. He's actually said me, I want this marriage. Let me sacrifice the job and go back. She really doesn't. Her worry is the tag of being a divorcee.
Right.
And the judgment. That's what her worry is.
How about maybe she was just tired because in the beginning, right? She
seemed tired. Let him go.
Let him go.
So why are you
but
going
she
back?
seemed
If
as though she was the one who was really
back?
into him. Check this out in the beginning. Like she was really into him in love, and she didn't mind getting married to him because So she had been in the relationship, done that, and she's like, she's had enough. So she decided to go.
So let him
but
go.
at the end of the day, for a woman to leave like that, she's financially independent. It means like we're all saying he does nothing for her.
Exactly.
So
why isn't she divorcing
she should
him?
let him go. She should let him go. She should let him
Yeah,
go.
absolutely.
She should let him go. That is, but also going back to the fact that until this guy wakes up and understands what it means to love, the cycle will continue. He doesn't have what it takes to love a woman, to be a good father, to even take care of his kids. Because right now, this woman is taking absolute responsibility for the kids. And he's sitting here saying, Masa, come back home. Like, really?
And my question is, he didn't even mention that I used to go and visit my wife and children.
Thank
I didn't
you.
even that's the text.
So
all
true.
he wants is me.
My guy
What am I
ultimately
getting?
grow up.
What am I getting? Young man.
Mommy
he
is
needs
probably
counseling.
paying for this new person who is coming to
that's what
cook and
mommy- I
clean
don't want to
and
talk
all
about
of that.
money.
Like, it's a mess.
Yeah,
Mommy, I don't want to talk
but
about
I mean, and I hear everything you ladies say, but you know, the truth is, if he wants the divorce, I mean, he seems to have taken this thing far. You've served her and
serve
everything,
papers.
and she's not willing to. He can still go ahead, right?
Yes, he can.
So if that's what he really
Judgment
wants.
can be granted in absentia.
Yes. So
Yeah.
that's what he
Can be
really
granted in
wants,
absentia,
if and
yes.
only if that's what he really
Which
wants.
is why. Which
He
is why.
keeps changing his mind.
Yeah,
though.
because then he
goes
says,
back and forth.
but
Today,
she's
all
not
I
willing
want-
to come back.
Yes,
So if
all
you-
I want is my wife and children with
to
me.
come back. So
All
what does
he
he
wants
really,
is the
really want?
services. All he
Look,
wants is
I
the
say the
services.
two of them,
But you
they
know,
are
maybe
confused.
how about maybe this girl,
The new
maybe
girl or the wife?
the wife, maybe this wife has a bit of love in herself for the guy, maybe. And maybe that's why maybe she doesn't want to divorce him.
but doesn't want to stay with him.
But doesn't want to stay with him.
Doesn't make sense.
Olivia,
Like,
if you have a little,
I don't know, I can't.
If you have a little love for somebody, the father of your children, and he served you papers. Serving papers, you realize that it's not a bluff.
Yeah.
Like he's gone to lawyer, the papers have been drawn. You will come back. If indeed there's a little love, you will come back. In fact, even if you don't resign, you probably take time off and come and try. You know, you will find a way. But this one, you're not. They deserve each other. The two of them.
The
That's
guy
why I
said
said
that
two
the woman
confused
was
people trying to make it work. They are both confused.
They are both
I don't know
confused,
when the
yeah.
two of them are getting out of this union, hanging on to something so toxic. Like, I don't get her. Both of them, they need to stay away from each other and figure out their lives on healthy
Or
path.
stay with each other and not go and contaminate other people's children.
Thank you. True.
Right. It's Sister on 97.3 City FM. Really, what do you think this man should do? Send us a WhatsApp, 054-998-6996. Couple of comments. Obaya says, brother, you need to put your ego aside and make that move. Make your wife suffer. You made your wife suffer and unhappy, so she left. You only realized what you had only after she left. What prevented you from going to her and making right what you made wrong? Since you claim you have completely changed and want to work on your marriage. You weren't ready to compromise nor sacrifice, and yet you're ready to jump into another woman's bed. You think you've fallen in love because your wife won't do same. That's you being selfish right there. Brother, forget about this new woman. Put in the hard work, 100% to save your marriage and keep that home. Sandra says, brah, you've fallen deeply for some other woman and you want to marry her and you still want your wife and kids back?
Thank you.
So if your wife decides to come back now, what happens to the lady you claim to have fallen deeply for? Ikea says, I don't think she would have opted for a transfer if you treated her well. You're partly to be blamed for how things have turned out in your relationship. Getting another transfer back won't be that easy since she was the one who asked for the transfer. I think you need a lot of convincing to do to get her back. Better still, you could also join her by getting a transfer to where she is. That is, if you really want to work things out. Dorothy says, you're a very selfish guy. You acted irresponsibly and neglected your duties. You don't miss your wife and kids. You just miss having someone around who will cook and clean
Thank
for
you.
That's why you are in love with a new lady. I don't have any advice for you, but I have an advice for your wife, and it's this. She shouldn't continue doing... she should, I think you want to say, she should continue doing what makes her happy. And finally, Pearl says, son of Adam. Son of Adam.
Eish.
Son of Adam.
Adam.
How many times did I call you?
Hey.
Please let the innocent woman be. You've put her through a lot and you expect her to forget so soon? You knew you weren't ready for marriage, but you were busy exploring her body. You better compromise or continue with your lonely life. As for the new lady you're thinking is better than your wife, dear. Massa, I know my gender, pa. We can pretend. It will end in tears, pair. Forget it. M for Medasi. Come on. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Sister on City TV and City FM. We're also live across sub-Saharan Africa on DSTV channel 363. All right, so let's jump into a couple more of your messages. This one says, good evening, Jess. I have an issue that I want to table before the house. Ooh, I'm suddenly feeling very important.
Yes, yes, the house. Yes. Address the house.
Thank you.
Yes.
Says, I don't know how to feel about this problem of mine. I've been married for 3 years and all has been rosy. 2 weeks ago, I discovered that my husband has taken a liking to watching gay and lesbian porn. For a heterosexual man, I find it bothersome that he doesn't watch heterosexual porn. I asked him about it and he said that he chanced upon it and it actually tickles his fancy. He assured me not to worry and that it wouldn't affect our marriage in any way. Sisters, should I be worried or am I overthinking it?
Please go there.
Livy. Hey, nobody wants to talk first, eh?
Okay.
Toss a coin.
Yeah, let me toss a coin.
Right?
Tails.
You know how they say the devil finds work for idle hands and minds? This is a clear case of that. I think you should be worried. I think. Yeah, don't even start. I just think you should be worried. The reason why I say this is, and I do stand to be corrected. You know how when you watch something over a long period of time, afterwards it seems normal. Your mind tells you that it's normal. At a certain point in time, if I don't know, there was a lot of people started, and I do stand. I'm not saying everybody, but when it comes to pornography and stuff, there was a craze for anal sex. Okay, whereby you have man and woman practicing anal sex. They had watched it over a long period of time, and to date, you do have couples thinking that it's normal to have sex like that. For me, this is my personal opinion. I really don't see why I should be having sex through my butthole when I'm supposed to be passing waste out of there. I strongly believe that the vagina was meant for procreation. The entire act of sex and procreation, whatever, is supposed to be the vagina. So if you have him constantly watching this, and trust me, I've heard stories time and time again, and I've read books on this matter, whereby the husband forces the woman over a long period of time, let's have anal sex. The woman engages into it. Women are being forced to have anal sex without wanting to participate in it. Over a long period of time, the woman starts to smell, and then bam, the man is like, he can't stand her anymore because she stinks, because she's leaking through the butthole, because she's experiencing all the side effects that comes with having anal sex. So my thing is that what's going to happen, I don't know if it will happen, maybe it won't happen, is that he started watching it on his own. He's liking it, and he didn't disclose the fact that he doesn't like it. It's like he's tickled about the entire act. At some point in time, he'll want to practice it with somebody. And if he's not practicing it with you, he'll practice it with somebody. The question is, when he's busy practicing it with somebody or even with you, are you ready for the consequences that comes with the entire act? And I don't know, moving forward, have a conversation with him. Let him know that, yes, you did see it, but it makes you feel uncomfortable. And for me, anything to do with intimacy, and especially the one that you love, you're married. I mean, the one that you love, if they love you enough, they would appreciate where you're coming from. They would appreciate that, oh, you feel uncomfortable. If you talk to him and he doesn't like it and he doesn't listen, and it can be addictive. You know, watching porn over and over and over again, it can be addictive. Research has shown that it can actually lower your IQ. You can go and research it, Google it, you'll find it. It's easy to Google, like Drea would say, Google it.
Google is free.
Google is free, exactly, Google it. So he can get addicted. And when he's addicted, what do? I think that what he should be investing his time in is you as a human being, both of you exploring your sex life together, exploring what you can do together, exploring how you can enjoy your marriage, your intimacy together. But for me, honestly, I strongly believe that you're a product of what you're exposed to. And I always say the eye is the window to the soul. Like what you watch, like how you perceive things, what you're exposed to, what you see. Like you can wake up in the morning and you can see a beautiful flower and immediately your soul is happy. Or you can see something that's so traumatic and immediately your soul is very traumatized. So what you expose yourself to visually, and it's to be a habit. I just feel like at some point in time he'll wake up tomorrow morning and then you'll be lying in bed and you want to be, poking. I don't know. This is just me. Thank you. This is just me.
All right.
This is just me.
Cool. Drea, you want to weigh in? You're giggling because?
I'm giggling because I disagree with Olivia.
Okay. Which is fine. Okay.
Okay. I agree about pornography being addictive, but that's not her problem. She doesn't mind that he's watching porn. Her worry is the fact that he's watching gay porn. Do you get? So her problem is not the fact that he's watching porn. So that's not even. But yes, pornography can be addictive. I think, look, people find different things turn different people on. Okay? He's your husband. You have spoken to him. He says there's nothing to worry about. I think so too. The fact that a person, look, there's a wide range of pornography. Yes.
Tell us.
There's bestiality.
Oh Lord.
There's all sorts of things that turn all sorts of. Go and Google is free.
No, thank you.
Google is free.
No, thank you.
Your mind will bop.
Hey, no, thank you.
Your mind will bop. So no,
I'll stay in my bubble.
You stay in your bubble, please. But my point is, look, different things turn different people on. He says he chanced on it, and now suddenly this is what's tickling his fancy. Same way it's tickling his fancy now, something else might come along. Something else will tickle his fancy. It's not hurting anybody. It's not hurting your marriage. In actual fact, you have spoken to him. Your only issue is that he's not watching heterosexual porn. Auntie, the man says watching gay porn turns him on. Is it affecting your marriage? No, it's not. Let's not poke
She's scared that maybe he will start
wanting to
engage.
Yes, he could.
Wanting to engage.
Of course.
But she's not gay.
No, but he'll go out.
Okay.
He's not gay. He's married to her.
Yeah, but maybe he'll go out.
That's
That's
it's
that's
true.
more what she has.
You know that he can die tomorrow.
Yeah.
She can go out tomorrow. My point is, why are you thinking of possibilities of negativity? You have spoken to the man.
Why not?
Because it's unnecessary worry. Live and let. Honestly, look, it's not. Is it? And we're having a conversation before. Is he hurting anybody?
He's hurting
But
himself.
his wife,
How?
he's hurting himself.
How?
No, they said that if the window, the eye is the window
And
to
in
the
actual
soul.
fact, the eye is the window to the soul.
Something,
Is
something.
the way she explains is actually the opposite. The eye is the window to the soul means that when I look, I see your soul through your eyes. It's not what. No. Yes.
But
Google is free. Let's go to Google. Let's go to Google.
No.
Okay,
my point is, yes, that's not the
Okay.
point. My point is, he's not hurting anybody. He's
His wife.
not giving you the sex that and you see
His
she's
wife
not
is
even worried.
emotionally troubled.
No, she's not. Oh, she
She's
says her
one-
confusion is that he's not watching hetero sex.
But you know that you could actually wake up tomorrow and want to fancy shagging a guy. You do know that, right? No, you do know that.
Not necessarily, but yes, there's a probability.
It's a possibility, but not
Yes.
necessarily. But you see, you said she should have a conversation with him. Ultimately, she has. it is him.
Is he stopping?
And he's assured her.
He's assured her that this doesn't affect us in any way. I find it intriguing. It's new. It's new. I'm sure he hadn't seen sound before. So he saw it, he's like, hey, this happens. Oh, wow. And I'm the home sorry. That's it.
And the fact that Nihum was sorry
is the problem.
Thank you, Des.
Oh, no, I'm only helping you. I'm not taking sides yet. Okay, Claudia, let's hear you.
You see, life is too short for you to repress someone's feelings.
Inhibitions. Thank you, ma'am.
Hey,
life is too short.
Yes.
You see, there are so many scenarios.
Yes.
It can be that, and first of all, there are different sexual spectrums between straight and gay.
Yes.
There are different combinations. And there are people who are, and you see, let's not conflict arousal with sexual orientation. The guy is curious. It might be that maybe he's gay and he's covering up, being the devil's advocate.
Or he doesn't even know.
He doesn't even know. He's curious. He's a very curious man. And so I'm actually wondering the sort of conversation she claims to have had with this man. Was it a conversation around curiosity? Or it was a conversation framed on accusation, prejudice, judgment? How would he even be honest with you if he's doing it? And I've seen these in movies where people married women and they became curious. But for you to really find out if he's experimenting, if he's already doing it, or if indeed he's bi, because I suspect he's sleeping with you, so he likes both men and women. We can't even confirm that. Mm-hmm. Because you see, what you see in porn and what turns you on and what you want to do at the end of the day are three different things. Men love lesbian porn. The lesbian part is not even an issue. Men like like they joke about it. They like to see two women doing it.
Or joining.
A man watching lesbian porn is abnormal. And there is nothing abnormal. They joke about it, like two women doing it. And sometimes lesbians have even expressed this fear of hetero men objectifying them, having sex, and not really taking them serious beings, engaging in sexual relations that satisfies them. So for me, it's intriguing because her problem is not the porn that he's watching. She's totally okay with the porn. It's the sexual orientation of the porn that he's watching. So for her, if he was watching normal, and so I would want to reason along those lines. If he was watching normal hetero sex, what would her fears have been?
She would not have had any.
So let's say, so does it mean that should have been okay if he was watching hetero sex and then he goes on to have a side chick? Would she have stayed? Those are the questions she should be asking herself. Is it about fidelity, pornography, or the sexual orientation? It's a very broad conversation that she needs to have honestly. But for me, I'm thinking about the man and the man doing right by himself and exploring his life. If it means finding a life outside the marriage and the marriage ending, so be it. Because nobody should be stuck in an arrangement where there's no love and he's forcing himself to be with a woman. Now he's assured you that it's okay. But being human, I'm sure at the back of your mind, something is telling you there's more to it because like the society that we are raised in, I think your first fear is the sexual orientation and not the actual infidelity that might happen. And I'm sure even if the infidelity happens and it's a woman, you give him more room and more acceptance than when it's a man. That is a fact. And so you need to have an honest and frank conversation, almost like making him feel so comfortable that he can be truly honest with you about what is going on. And this will only happen if you restructure the conversation to be about curiosity, not about judgment, because otherwise he will never open up. And I suspect that's what you did the first time. So he told you what you wanted to hear, or he told you the truth. But have this conversation again, this time being a wife who is joking with the husband, even sometimes pretending to be interested. And I chanced on one conversation where the lady was like, she even brought up the issue of saying, okay, so what if we have a threesome and there are 2 men in the room? And that was only when the man opened up. So it's an act that you have to perfect to get this man to open up. And he opening up is for the benefit of the two of you. Because I believe life is too short for him to be repressing his feelings and be staying with you and be doing it behind your back. And we don't even know if this is happening. So it's him. He is the one that you have to gain his trust, more about curiosity, and take it one step at a time. Because you see, if he starts even raising and asking so many questions immediately, he might pretend not to be watching, and you'll be watching it elsewhere. So it's an intriguing situation, and you need to win his trust for him to feel like he's talking to his boy's voice, or he's talking to someone he trusts, or he's talking to someone who is not judging him, right, so that he can be himself. Because both of you deserve to be happy, whether together or apart. Life is too short to be stuck. So change the approach of talking. Right. Buddy him, even discuss scenarios which you think is closer to what he's fantasizing. So when he sees that you are reasoning with him, he starts to open up. And then you hear the things you want to hear. And then you can make your decision.
Okay. I mean, I personally think that him watching gay porn doesn't mean he wants to engage in homosexuality.
Yeah.
If you read the literature about how porn works, when you're addicted to porn, you tend to graduate. So let's say you've seen heterosexual sex all the time. The next thing you want is something different else to trigger you, because it's
get
almost
used
like,
to it.
Yes, you grow numb to what you see. So you're no longer aroused by the
same
normal
thing.
That's how it works. You graduate.
Yes.
So tomorrow, there are people who even watch bestiality.
Yes.
Just to get off, not because they want to engage.
Yes.
And that's how it is. So, I mean, maybe the real issue here should be them both having a conversation about
pornography.
I think that would help them as a couple better. You know, maybe start to limit, if you guys watch together, I mean, and discuss openly what's really you're doing to your relationship just by engaging or watching pornography. I think that'll be a good place to start, you know, and then you can begin to address all other issues that come up. But there's that graduation there.
Yeah. And because for me, if indeed she has no issues with him watching porn, and her issue is just the fact that he's graduated, so to speak, to gay porn, like you're saying, that's the conversation that needs to be had, because she doesn't come off as a prude, so to speak. She's not totally anti-pornography, right? So it's just that
she's okay with the porn.
And look, whether we like it or not, we are an extremely inhibited society sexually. Yeah, we have all sorts of sexual inhibitions, you know. However, I must say on this show, because it's a national show, that homosexuality is still illegal. So yes, you may be watching your homosexual porn, but at no point should you consider engaging.
Yeah. All right, we'll go for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. All right, so you're welcome back, Sister on City TV and City FM. We're almost out of time, but real quick, I'll try and squeeze this one in. Says, good evening, sisters. I have a delicate issue. Last night, my fiancé and I had a heated argument, and he stormed out of the house. He came back very late and heavily drunk. The next morning, I found a woman's panty in his pocket. I'm so angry, I want to call off the wedding. Please advise.
Breathe. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Breathe. And then, yes, you have every right to be angry. But ultimately, it boils down to you. What are your deal breakers and what aren't? If cheating is one of your deal breakers, I would say have a conversation. Establish that indeed he cheated. If indeed he did, and cheating is one of your deal breakers, sure, go ahead and don't get married. Whatever it is, though, you need to have a conversation, because you can't even go into a marriage not knowing. All you saw was a panty.
Right.
What if it was a friend?
Friend's panty didn't watch.
It's possible. Hey, was that not how somebody had it? We don't like someone's car.
We don't like that. Friend's panty didn't watch in his pocket. No, this one is perfect.
So once somebody's dress is in somebody's pocket, you need to go upstairs.
Of course.
Okay. Whatever it is, madam, please, I think you should have a conversation with your husband. And if indeed, but ultimately, it's up to you. If cheating is one of your
Deal
because I
breakers.
do know
Go ahead.
people who cheating isn't a deal breaker. So if cheating is a deal breaker, sure,
All right.
end it.
Libby, you
Master,
have a minute.
If I were you, I would not marry this guy because today is white panty, tomorrow will be green, the next day you can't have a small argument and just storm out of the house
And
and suddenly like
There's drawers.
There's drawers in your pockets. Why? If
Is
there's
it handkerchief?
Bisa, ask again. If you have an issue, talk to your wife about it, your girlfriend about it. Say, Mata, I don't like what you did, X, Y, Z. Trash the issue out. At which point, it's just so much immaturity. Sweetheart, listen, you are not married to him yet.
Don't marry
Perfect
him.
timing. Don't
Run.
marry him because the panty, the colors, they are not going to change. So, my dear sweethearts, please move on. This one
Nanya.
here, and yeah, Januman
All right, Claudia, you have a minute. Talk to me.
Oh, that panty self, maybe a woman is trying to frame her. You don't know.
You are. Thank you. Claudia, you should be in studio. Claudia, thank you. Thank you.
You see, that's why they still don't get dragged.
Let's not jump to conclusions that he was drunk.
Thank you.
And he came back to you drunk
Thank you.
and still brought the panty.
So he was raped.
Because he was drunk, else he would have thrown it away.
Yes, thank you,
Oh,
Liska.
it's not true.
If he was lying, then that panty wouldn't have come to the house.
Yes.
So
Nire
take your time. That's also possible.
More likely than anything.
He didn't know what
There
it
are
was.
so many unknowns. You see, there are so many unknowns. So I would want her to take her time. I mean, the marriage can delay about a week or two for you to investigate this and be sure of what happened before you make a decision. But for me, cheating is always a deal breaker. I don't care the circumstances.
Nanya.
So if indeed he did it, from my perspective, I would want you to reconsider. But like I said, he might probably be framed. So let's not.
It's possible. Oh, if we
And
don't
he's
know
a
what
girl.
else.
I
Frame because
because
you let's end it here.
He's so mature.
We're out of time.
We're out of
We're out of
time.
time, unfortunately.
The other girlfriend will put the panty there
Yes,
just to
because he went there. Why did he go there, Claudia?
He
Why
was
did he go there?
Let's
walking
Somebody
away.
said
Let's
he
not
was
make
there.
excuses for this
going
guy.
to close.
Let's not make
open the
excuses for this guy.
We
Let's
are
just
not
end it
making
here.
excuses.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, making
The truth is, he went to cheat.
No, that's not the truth. The truth
So,
is
no,
that
you had
panty
your
is
opinion. Let me
pocket.
have mine.
No,
He went to cheat.
no,
The truth is that panty
If
in
I
his
were
pocket.
you, I'll also call it off.
Thank
I don't
you.
know.
No.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies, for making a date this week. It's been absolutely amazing. And to our sponsors, Vodafone, Together We Can, Kelkis Toothpaste, Happy Smiles, and Talia Rice, delicious rice. Yeah, that rice really be too much. Always coming home to love. We'll be back on another episode of Sister Sister. Don't go anywhere.